Cheers and welcome to Badger Beer Hour, the April 420 edition, April 20 of 2022. We have Landon's going to have a beer spotlight for us, a nice IPA. We got events, all kinds of events going on in Wisconsin. We're going to have a nice interview with Phil, the head brewer and owner from House Brewing in Verona and Fitchburg. And now we have the news, y'all. What's up, Landon?
Well, hey, Greg. This is kind of weird.
Doing?
I'm doing great, man. This is kind of weird not doing it without Chris, but, you know, he's off to doing fancy things because he's fancy like that.
Fancy? He says some fancy smanchy. Is that how you say it?
Fancy schmancy, yeah.
Okay, cool. Event. Y'all can follow him. If y'all follow him on Twitter, you'll be able to see what he's up to. So I get stuck trying to be Chris Drosner, and it's going to be a little bumpy ride here, y'all.
And but, if you're on Twitter, give him hell about being at a fancy schmancy place and not at Badger Beer Hour.
Yeah, I can't blame him though with those pictures.
No, I don't blame him either. But give him hell because giving Chris hell is fun. Yeah,
absolutely. So, our first news thing here is since I'm new to this, usually you talk, but I don't know if you want to lead us into this.
Yeah, it's actually a Chris thing that we're going to start off with. So, as everybody knows, Chris Drosner does the Madison.com Wisconsin beer bracket. And they declared a winner.
Yes, and the winner is, drum roll, close enough to perfect from Working Draft. I actually have one, and believe it or not, Landon, I did not do that on purpose, and you can attest because it was a minute before we went on stream, and I said I needed a beer.
Yeah.
And I didn't say I had a plan, but it's close to perfect. It's a West Coast double IPA. As the name suggests, it's close enough to perfect. It is really damn good as far as the West Coast, piney, but yet there's a little fruit that creeps in there. It's a big one. At I don't see the 8.5. Citro Mosaic, Amarillo, and Chinook. Tropical pine and citrus. It's just great. And it's really, I mean, as far as the winner for Wisconsin, I'm good with it.
And they topped New Glarus is Totally Naked, so they didn't topple just anybody. They got crowned over New Glarus.
Yes.
That's a big deal.
That's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Thanks for pointing that out.
You bet.
And I think Andy's pointing out that last June, this was our beer spotlight. I don't remember that.
I don't remember. But you must have a really, really good memory. I don't remember what happened last week, let alone last June.
Correct. But hats off to our friends at Working Draft. And yeah, so our next news item, Brandon.
That's not the first time I've been called Brandon, but we've got some Milwaukee news. It looks like there's a new brewery coming to Milwaukee.
Yeah, the old Germantown restaurant here, Chris. Our friends over at on Milwaukee, Bobby Tanzillo, wrote about this new or old Germantown pizza and restaurant, sausage making business, now has turned into they have a brewery now.
Yeah.
They bought the old Titletown brewing system in 2020. Titletown so upgraded and sold them their new brewing system, their old brewing system. He's owned the farm since 1989. So this I guess feels to them as natural progression, as now they're going to brew their own beer. But it looks like here it's a 15-barrel brew house with a couple fermenters that they got off of Titletown.
Yeah.
And they opened the restaurant in 2020. and they just had it. They had a really good time with pizzas and takeout and things going on. So they bought a brewing system, and it looks like they're going to be selling small craft beer. I mean, small amounts, and I don't know, limiting distribution.
Yeah.
Couldn't again, Chris. You're all gonna miss Chris this week.
And if you want to know more about that, you can go to onmilwaukee.com. They've got an article about it. They've got pictures and all kinds of good stuff. So
yep, and I will tweet these out on my Twitter for sure, because I just want everybody to be able, and I want to again thank Bobby Tanzillo. He's the one who wrote this article. But it's a Germantown, and Germantown's a little bit northwest of Milwaukee, and it is out in the sticks. We love Wisconsin because you can go from the center of any of our quote big area, our big cities, and you can be out in the sticks in like two seconds. So I don't care, man. I love the farmhouse brewery type atmosphere, especially in the summer and in the spring around here. Maybe not so much in the winter, but I'm not sure, besides snowshoeing, what we get done in the wintertime around here. But yeah.
That's right. So the next one, we're going to keep it in Milwaukee. So actually, Milwaukee Brewing is for sale.
Yeah, this one is interesting because they have that the 9th Street location occupies their remodel in the Pabst distribution center area. I'm sorry, in the brewery district, and this is a big old place. They went from 15,000 barrels a year. Now they're on pace to brew. They were last year. They were on pace to brew 100,000 barrels a year. Yeah, they expanded it to seltzer. They had the Milwaukee IPA and our local haze. But apparently, if you're selling, something's not right there. Another On Milwaukee article that y'all can slide over to. They don't really give much details because you know how these sales go. It's not like they put out all this stuff, or it's not like they ever say, "Hey, we're selling because this happened." It's all wrapped up in vagueness, and usually what happens is like after the fact, then we get like really more details about whether the old man wanted to sell, or I don't feel that. I don't know. I feel kind of they have a big place and something's not right there.
The beer's kind of been okay for a lot of years. So I think it'd be a good opportunity for somebody obviously with a lot of money. But they could they could get in there, and they could, the name is still recognized at this point, and I think they could turn it around. So,
and I think that's an astute point. Their beers didn't live up to, in my opinion, the competition that is Milwaukee.
Right.
Let's just keep it real. It wasn't like they were bad, but it wasn't like they stood out and said, "Hey, I really need to go to Milwaukee." Because Milwaukee Brewing, or we really need to meet there. I mean, and then you have you had Central Waters recently just moving in right up the street, much smaller place, but I mean they just got a better as far as on the street on the Wisconsin beer streets, Landon.
Yeah.
Central Waters is hard to beat. Like there's only a couple that you're going to be like,
for sure,
New Glarus, and I don't even know if you can go much further beyond New Glarus as far as having better quote street cred.
Yeah.
So, even that small place, I'm sure even added. I mean, we definitely could probably say that it's not the reason, but it's just one of the compounding reasons about Milwaukee's beer scene is just so, it's just so tight. It really is tight in a great way.
Yeah, and that's a good thing for the consumer. Not so great for a beer owner.
No, and not so great if you're cranking out. If you're cranking out 100. And if you're cranking out 100,000 barrels and you only do 75, that's not good.
No.
So right, I mean, the bigger you are, the bigger the fail or the bigger the fall. So as they say. So that's we'll keep an eye out on that soon. And Bobby Tanzillo's all over it, so you all can check his Twitter too. And then we want to thank On Wisconsin for all three of these news pieces that we got, and we got one more from.
And we got one more, so we're actually going to stay in Milwaukee and Third Space, which is what I'm drinking tonight. I'm drinking Third Space Ice Bear.
Yes, our friends. Our friends too.
Yeah, they renovated their tap room.
Oh, yeah, and I'm supposed to have the information on that. The second phase, focused. So they did a 3. Actually, isn't it funny? Third Space Brewing did a 3. They're doing a 3-tiered or 3-phase renovation
upgrade.
Yeah. So what they just got done was the second phase. The second phase focused on getting an air condition in the tap room because apparently there wasn't one before.
That's important.
And it's very important. Milwaukee gets muggy as heck during the summer.
Yeah.
We got private event space. I believe that's outdoors. And a refreshing menu board, a new refreshing menu board, and a back bar. There's now a mural in 3 shades of green that runs the entire north wall of the space. They're outdoors. There are new custom tables and some banquettes. First for the tap room. New lighting, new paint. I mean, it just sounds like a 2 large TVs, privacy curtains, upgraded AV equipment. I mean, all kind upgraded taproom sound system that's coming soon. So they are upgrading their outdoors, their space. I think that's great. Sometimes an upgrade to a space is better than even adding on. And it also sounds like they were, they did okay coming out of the pandemic or during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So the first phase was last year. Second phase just got done now, and then the third phase will take place mostly outside with a big covered deck, which is nice. That will flow right into the tap room. They're gonna have some lighting out there, sound systems. The sound system upgrade sounds like, bands and all that. So that's fun. Not that that brings in people and having a nice outdoor space. Where people can hang out during the summer. I mean, that's just we're getting back to it, Landon.
Absolutely. They also obtained a license to make and sell wine, cider, and mead. So
yes.
If that's your jam, that's your place to go, man.
Yeah, and that's big too for non-beer drinkers. But as Swanson Skateboards here says, they got really good beer there.
Yeah.
And so yeah. So you got really good beer, and then you add that with the cider and the wine, you're doing pretty good for yourself.
Absolutely. So we're going to move on from Milwaukee, even though this is actually somewhat down from there. So our old friend John Harry, who's been on Badger Beer Hour before, you can find him at History Happy Hour. He's leading regular tours of Point Brewery.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's here somewhere. Look at that. I just completely dropped Landon's wonderful segue. So long story short, our friend John Harry just finished his, I believe his master's or his doctorate. And he recently moved back to where he was from, which is in Stevens Point area. So soon after that, he became the executive director of the Portage County Historical Society. So the history of the nation's second largest continuous operating brewery, which is Point Brewing.
Yep.
He guests on the tour. We'll hear about the founding. I don't know if you've ever taken this tour, but it's one of the better ones in Wisconsin. And we got some good ones. We got, of course, the legendary Lakefront one.
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, is one of the better ones in the whole country. You have the Hard Hat Tour over at New Glarus. And so we have some really good beer tours in the state, and John is going to be anchoring one of them, which is the Point Brewery. John Henry was our first guest, and he was our first interview in the Badger Beer Hour.
And he was amazing.
Yes,
fantastic. Yeah.
So yeah, he's it's a wonderful development for two reasons. Our regular scheduled tours give an overview of modern craft and historic facility. But if you want more, these history tours will go deeper into that story. And John, not only is he smart, he's engaging, he's fun. So yeah, these tours run on select dates starting May 6th. There are limited number tours, and reservations and tickets are expected to sell quickly. It doesn't say here when they're selling, so I will call the brewery.
But they're $20.
But they're $20, right? Yeah. Yep. It says here that they're $20. So yeah. So let's see here.
Maybe
21.
Maybe we could start doing Badger Beer Hour. Join us on a tour of Point Brewery. We'll all go to meet up at Point Brewery sometime, and then we'll go to Lakefront.
Yes.
Yeah, just you never know if everybody's interested.
Point Brewing is Point Brewing. Close is Central Waters. Close is Oso.
Yeah.
Close is So I don't know.
We could hit some places. You bet.
That whole area is great for beer.
Absolutely.
I don't care what y'all say. It's really underrated. Yes, we have Madison. Yes, we have Milwaukee. Yes, we have Eau Claire. But Stevens Point is banging, man. I'm telling you. I don't care what anybody says.
I agree.
People are like, what? Even people in state are like, kind of like, I mean, beer drinkers, Wisconsin beer drinkers know. But a lot of people outside of that don't know. So, yeah, Landon, is that the news? Did we get through this?
I think we got through the news.
Excellent. So
yeah.
Next we have an interview with, I could call him a friend, my friend Phil.
All right.
Cheers. I gotta do this thing here. So yeah, look at this. We need two people to replace Chris.
Oh, Chris is usually pretty good on his own. We don't like to step on his jam.
No, but when he's at a fancy schmancy event, then we can. But Chris was nice enough to set up this interview for us. We have the one and only Theo. I'm so bad at names, Landon. Hoechst.
I can't even pronounce that one, but Phil will tell us.
Yes, I'm about to. I'm letting him on here, and I'm probably gonna get hit for it, but that's fine. Hey Phil, how you doing?
Hey Phil.
The last name, buddy, please help me out here. Hoechst. Landon, I'm bad at names, man.
Yeah. Man, I would have assumed that first, and then I always think it's something.
You didn't help me though. You didn't help me.
Would you look at my last name and think that that's Cerny? No.
I call you Cherney.
I know, but that's how it's supposed to be pronounced.
Okay. What are we doing here? Phil, welcome to Badger Beer Hour. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome.
Excellent. So for people who don't know about House Brewing, please tell us.
You want the long version, the short version?
I know the story. I know most of the story. You and I met at the Brew Down. I think it was one of the first ones you did. What do they call it now? I think they changed the name of it. But it was one of the first ones. I remember meeting you there. You and I talked for a good while. I was excited about your beers. I'm still excited about your beers. But where did we talk to brewers all across Wisconsin, so I'm not assuming that everybody knows you, so that's why I asked that question.
Sure. No, we the short details. We opened in 2015 in Verona, right downtown Verona, 2,500 square foot facility. little 3-barrel brew house. So when we opened, we had 4 3-barrel fermenters. Bought two more like a couple months after that, and then within like a year, we started looking to find a new spot. So we ended up contracting through Octopi for a couple of years, and we were still looking for another facility, another locations, because we had, we wanted obviously more room, more seating. We wanted more brewing capacity. We needed to start canning our own beer and then get a kitchen, parking, all that good stuff. So, yeah, that search took a couple years, and we finally landed on a spot in Pittsburgh, so actually like half away from where I grew up. And so yeah, we broke ground August of 2019, and then opened in September of 2020. So right during the middle of this pandemic, so that was not exactly awesome, but it happens. So we went from a little 3-barrel brew house to now we've got a 15-barrel brew house, a couple 15s, 30s, canning line, rooftop patio, still not enough parking, and the kitchen. Yeah.
Really, really beautiful, nice spot. Landon, let me jump on this one, then I'll give you the follow up.
Yeah.
Because Phil jumped into where one of the most fascinating parts about Hop House, in my opinion. But when I first met him, I didn't know, no one knew that the pandemic was going to roll through. But yeah, y'all opened up a whole ass brewery during the pandemic. And I was following along that during that whole thing. And I'm just glad y'all came out the other side. But do you have any further musings about that? I mean, I'm sure y'all. There's a sense of relief that I feel from the brewing industry now, like almost an exhale after the pandemic, and I know it's kind of a cautious exhale because we still don't know what even this summer is going to hold for us. But yeah, do you have any more about the whole pandemic opening a brewery? I mean, y'all were at least established. You at least had your name, at least in the Madison area. We all knew who you are. We loved your beer. But yeah, do you have any more on that?
Yeah, it was, I think, because we got shut down. We had a whole bunch of beer in the tanks in Verona because I was brewing a bunch. And so we went over to K4, actually ended up taking kegs of beer over to Carbon 4, having them can it. So I would go over there, drive it over there. The next day we'd go can, bring it back, and we were selling a ton of 4-packs and 6-packs to go. So that kind of, I mean, that kept us going for sure. But yeah, opening, I think had we not already had Fitchburg kind of in the works and being built, we probably would have gone under in the last 2 years. So we had enough outdoor space, enough indoor space to space out far enough. Obviously we got loans and things like that, like PPP loans and whatever. But yeah, I think if had we not had Fitchburg open, we would have gone under because we couldn't, our whole business was relying on getting butts in seats.
Wow.
So yeah, I think, it's weird, but yeah, had we, if it was a year delayed, it probably would not have been built,
Yeah.
Wow. Landon?
Well, I noticed the picture that Greg put up, and I to be honest with you, I haven't been to your place yet, but I don't get down to that place. I don't get down to that area of the state a lot. But you'll notice the cornfields. So you were talking about being outside and having the outdoor spaces. I noticed a lot of breweries have started to put in outdoor spaces, even in their parking lots. Just whatever they could possibly get for an outdoor space. It's kind of a blessing that you'd had not knowing that the pandemic was coming. But what was your thought putting in the outdoor space anyway, not even knowing that the pandemic was coming?
Right. So when we were designing it, I guess when we met with our architects and we had a list of all the things we wanted, and certainly, having an outdoor space with, that's fenced in, letting the kids run around, like that's half of our, I wouldn't say half, but a lot of our brewery clientele in Verona is families. Like we live in a neighborhood with a bunch of kids between 5 and 12, and so
Sure.
they come get their kids, and so it was kind of like, I like being outside anyway, but having a nice grass area, let the kids run around. Everybody wants to be outside during those 4 months when it's appropriate in Wisconsin. Um, but then the rooftop was like another thing that we definitely wanted, because I mean, everybody just, it's funny, like you want to be up higher. So if it's our
Right.
second story, that little, it looks pretty small on this picture, but the capacity just of that patio on the rooftop is bigger than our capacity at our original location in Verona.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yes. Yes.
we
Yes.
when we worked with our
Okay.
architects, like we were trying to get square footage down, and it was like, well, let's make the kitchen bigger, so we didn't know exactly what, but I think if you truly counted up indoor seating, event space, rooftop, and the patio outside without even counting the grass, it's like 450 some people. So we have a ton of room, which is nice, but yeah, it was kind of crazy going from capacity of 80 to four something.
Yeah.
Yeah, Landon, you've never been there. I've been there a few times. Actually, I was there on one of my birthday tours. Was
Oh
the
yeah.
is the Hop House in Verona. Again, I'm not bragging. I'm just saying it's one of my favorites. So of course it has to hit my birthday. But I wanted to comment on I visited y'all during I guess is the pandemic even over? So it was last summer, right before I went to the hospital. Y'all were literally my last stop, I think, before I went in the hospital. And I had dinner there, and I just have to say that like y'all really picked it up your kitchen is really fantastic. They got good things on the menu, y'all. They got healthy things on the menu. They have like farm things on the menu, Landon, and all that stuff goes good with their fantastic beer. So
Yeah.
I just had a really good time, but I was outside, and that was the thing that drove me to y'all, was that it was outside, it was covered, it was right under this nook here, Landon, right under that brewing company.
I
That's that.
remember the video, that all the videos and things that you sent me that I put together. That was the very last one. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really
Yeah.
excited, but like, so because again, I've seen Phil, and I've seen the evolution of Phil's brewery, and again, I was really happy about it all. So I just wanted to say highly recommend it. Y'all get out there. It's I really would say it's a destination brewery, not in a bigger sense, but in a smaller sense, in my opinion. Um, and so Phil, you've created a really nice space area there, and I'm proud of you,
Thank
man.
you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's funny when we were talking about it with whether it was like the bank or the architect. They're like, oh, we'd explain like kind of what we wanted to do, and they're like, oh, so like Ale Asylum. I'm like, well, no, like we don't need to be that big, but we're not also 100% production. We're more of a brew pub. I'm like, oh, so like the Great Dane. I'm like, well, but a little bit more production than that. And so like it was a weird
Mm-hmm.
thing that we could never. People just couldn't wrap their head around what we're trying to do. And so like, well, then do you want to go in an industrial area? I'm like, well, not really. Like, do you want to go downtown on Main Street? Like, no, we can't pay rent. We can't buy that land. So it was kind of hard to figure out how to explain to them what exactly we're doing. And then the full kitchen was like a must. And when we first started talking to chefs and people in the industry, because we've never run in a restaurant, it's like we just wanted to make sure that we knew the beer would be on point, but we're like, we want a place that has good food and good beer. Not, normally it's one or the other, I feel like. So we really focused pretty heavily on that, and we were lucky with the staff that we had.
Yeah. Do you have, like, as far as beer goes, and especially someone like me who's never been there? So how would you describe the way that you brew beer? Like, what do you go for? Are there any specific styles that you try to highlight, or is it just?
So I mean, I love hoppy stuff, but that's obviously even changed in the last like 10 years, and like the style of what an IPA is versus
Sure.
now it's hazies. It's like our hazy
Right.
IPA is our number one seller right now. Um, so hazies, things like that. But I feel like we try to do a little bit of everything, but we always make sure that if we're doing like, our Scotch ale, like it's a really good Scotch ale. It's got all the flavors in there. If we're gonna do like a lime ale, we want it to be, crisp, refreshing. So we try to really make sure whatever beer we do, there's no like mediocre, just kind of like it's whatever. Like it's, you know, if it's a, you know, whatever style we're trying to go for, we try to really nail it. We don't do, I don't know, I would say we don't do weird stuff. Uh, experimental thing. You know, it's like we try to steer clear of the weird stuff. Like the more words you have to describe a beer, probably not better.
So no marshmallow fluff then, or?
No, I mean I never say never, but that's when I'm like, why, right? If it's one of those beers that you have it at a festival and you have 5 ounces, you're like, yep, I'm good. Like that's not going to sell. It's not going to sell volume for you.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm a big Scotch ale fan, so that's right up my alley. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the better ones, if not the best one. The only one that comes close, or that is a competition for me, Phil, is the Stone and Scone from Great Dane. You mentioned them. Is that a Scotch ale though? I'm not sure, but there's not really many. There's not really many done in this area. I think next door had Plumptuous, but there isn't many of that style.
Sure.
And y'all do it. I'm glad to mention it because that's one of the best ones around.
I'll go head to head, toe to toe, whatever you want, and any Scotch ale around here.
Yeah, and
that's awesome.
I agree with that for sure. So that leads us. Orlando, you have a follow up?
Yeah, I was going to ask one more about being out kind of in a rural area. Have you noticed? And I mean, I have no idea what's on the other side of that picture. Of course, you know, not having been there.
Oh, it's all industrial shit.
Is it? So it's just corn.
I'm sorry. I think he's at the edge. Phil can respond, of course, but I think he's at the edge of that. I could be wrong. Phil could.
So it's funny. So like where the picture is taken, right underneath it is a huge warehouse. So like facility 4 Sub-Zero. So they've got huge warehouse, and then all the land to the left that was cornfield 5 years ago now is like 250 new homes. So it's a good spot. Yeah. So I mean, we kind of knew what we were doing there. Because like I said, I grew up in the area, and there's, you know, this has always been a cornfield, and even our place was a cornfield 3 years ago. But yeah, now there's tons of, you know, single family homes, young kids. So like our demographic, and so they come on over after work, and you know, we put that kids menu to you know, through its ringer.
And that's fantastic, because I've 2 younger kids, and they've been to like 80 or 90 different breweries. So
sure,
the more kid friendly, the better. But
yeah,
I was going to ask about being in a rural area, but apparently you're not in a rural area anymore. So
he's in a creep, man. He's in the middle of that creep, in my opinion. Like soon, like in like 5 years, it's going to be like all worked in. You know what I mean? Those cornfields will be sold, and right. And
I got to get my hands on that cornfield behind me, though.
Yeah, because you're gonna even have less.
You get a little more parking,
a little more parking, a little more storage. You know, we could do some things with that.
You upgraded though, because of Verona, you didn't have any parking. So like, I mean, there was some on the streets, but like
we had. It's funny. So we have 2 out of the 3 office suites in that area, and so then I think there's 11 parking stalls. We had like 7 of them. Now we have 0. So during the pandemic, when we opened up, we had just outdoor seating. So we got to fence off a majority of that parking lot, and people loved it. And so last year we actually got approval. We built a deck over. It's like I think it's 18 feet wide by like 45 feet long. Like put some pergolas in there, so it's permanently a deck. There's another probably 65 chairs out there. So yeah, it doubles in the summer. It doubles our capacity over there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. So let's talk. Or I'm sorry, Dan.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just going to ask if you got, now that supposedly the weather's going to warm up, and we also know that that's not necessarily true in Wisconsin, because we could have second or third winter depending on where you're at. Do you have any spring, summertime events that are going to come up, especially since you got such nice outdoor spaces?
Yeah, so we have we try to book music like once a week. We normally stay away from Fridays because we're so busy anyway. So that you know, either now that it's nicer weather, we can do some outside, but in the winter we're always real hesitant. Even in spring and fall, just between those seasons, just if it's bad weather, we got to bring them inside, and then we don't have anywhere to go. But we do music. Obviously, it helps a lot that rooftops open. So yeah, on our calendar, I think Facebook is probably the best spot to kind of check all the musical acts that we have in there. And we have other fun stuff too. Like we do Tuesday night trivia in Fitchburg, Thursday night over in Verona. We're actually starting to do some bingo. We're doing bingo in Verona because when we were in Florida, like over spring break, I won a 6-pack of beer and I was convinced we needed to do bingo. Our friend has been telling us for years to do bingo, but she's hosting it now, so it's Wednesdays in Verona. So yeah, it's there should be some fun stuff.
If you ever need anybody to call numbers, I'll come down.
All right, that's a deal. We can probably do that. Guest, you can guest call.
You bet.
And are y'all back to doing tours?
If you email me, then we can always do a tour. We used to book them on Fridays, and then we lost one of our employees that used to do them, and he was fun. He went and worked somewhere else, and so it's kind of hard to always have them up there. But I like to do them. I think they're pretty fun. So normally Chris and I, Chris, who's our event coordinator, we like to tag team those, and they're pretty fun.
Gotcha. So, because I know that tours is another casualty of the pandemic. I mean, there's many, but that was one that really, kind of hit home a little bit. Was like, no more tours. We're not doing any more tours. And it's like, wow. And I really wasn't a tour guy. I like the bigger ones and the better ones, but at some point, you know how this is. Lynn, you know too. There's only so many times you can hear about the brewing process that you're just like, okay, I got it. Like unless it's something really, really new, or So it's good to hear that y'all at least will entertain those ideas. And I would really like to. One of these days, I'm going to get out and see. I really like to see what the new one looks like.
Absolutely, yeah. It's kind of funny because at the beginning of any tour, I ask people, I'm like, what do you guys want? Like, do you want the How Beer is Made tour? Like, we can get as nerdy as we want. We could talk 45 minutes about, why the fermenters are shaped the way they are. But what do you guys want? And so, but we have some, and if people know, if they're like, brew all the time, like, what? Who cares? And let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the history of Hop House and just fun random stuff. So, they're always. I like to say they're always kind of different. So it's always a good time.
Yeah.
Excellent. So one of the main reasons why you're here, what I want to talk about now, and that's why I was like, Landon, get it out before I go over on a tangent here, is your Earth Day beer. And you want to tell everybody about that?
Yeah. Let's see. I have one right here. Let's see.
All right. What's going on?
Right. So it is a honey blonde ale. So I'll give you the backstory in a second, but yeah, 5.5% blonde ale with some honey that we got from our buddy Wade. So kind of local raw honey. It releases on Earth Day, so Friday. Some stores might already have it in cans on the shelves and whatnot. But yeah, it's kind of cool. So it raises money for Clean Lakes Alliance and also for the Henry Vilas Zoo in Madison. So it's kind of cool. We kind of thought it was nice, tie it in during Earth Day. We didn't know it was going to be still almost snowing, but whatever. A nice springtime beer, easy drinking. It's a cool local store. It's a cool can. But yeah, that's coming out. So we've got I think it's 28 draft accounts in and around Madison, and then 25 or 26, liquor stores, grocery stores, things like that. They're selling those cans to go.
Excellent.
That's awesome.
And, yeah, so it's available, and it's available. Sounds like everywhere in Madison.
Yeah. So I want to say Woodman's, Woodman Steve's, Miller's, every one of the the local small liquor stores, Haley's, Harley's, Trixie's, all those places.
Excellent, man.
Yeah.
And what's the name of the beer again?
Yeah,
it's called Bee Better Have My Honey.
Bee Better Have My Honey.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's got it's got the little honeycombs on there. But yeah, our buddy Wade from Honeybee Cannabis in Madison. So he kind of came to us back in probably January with the idea. And so we get, not that we get pitched a lot of ideas, but every once in a while, somebody's like, oh, we should do this beer. It'd be great to fundraise. I'm like, okay, here we go again. And and he worked for Budweiser for 12 or 15 years. And so, he's like, I already pre-sold, kegs of this place, kegs of that one. I'm gonna go hit these other accounts. And I was like, oh, like you actually know what you're talking about. And he did a ton of the legwork, connected us with some good people. And so yeah, he shout out to Wade. He did a great job and used his honey, which is pretty cool. 50 or no, I think it's 60 pounds, like those in each bag. And yeah, it's a good, I think it's just it kind of benefits a lot of cool nonprofits. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's great.
Yep, and a blonde ale, which is I don't know. I think it's an underbrewed style. I don't know about what y'all think. Blonde ales. I think they're really nice, obviously in the spring. As opposed to it seems like we're getting a lot of lagers. No, and I'm a fan of that. Don't get me wrong. I think we're in a lager thing, but it's nice to see a blonde ale, a little sweet one too. So I'll be looking forward to this one for sure. And I'm gonna grab that for sure.
Thanks. Yeah, I think for us, like our Sweet Sunglasses Blonde Ale has been one of our best sellers in the tap room
Mm,
for years. And so I was like, well, how do we make it different, right? And so we knew, like that honey, like I said, 60 pounds of honey is really going to dry that beer out. And so
Yeah.
we're not adding any rice, we're not adding any dextrose, we're not any of that stuff. And so it was just straight Pilsner malt, some Vienna malt. So like it came out nice, like not bready like a Pilsner, but like you have some of that malt character without that sugar just drying it all out. And then, I always like to try out and experiment with, I don't want to say because I always people get afraid or scared off if I say like we hopped it with this. Like, oh, there's hops. Like, oh my God. Like, no, it's not hoppy. Um, but just whirlpool editions of
mm,
Mandarin and Bavaria. So like trying to get some kind of like tea, some kind of like fun orangey
mm-hmm.
citrus flavor out of it, but without
Yeah.
freaking people out.
Landon.
That sounds awesome. I don't have anything more other than the fact that obviously I've been missing out on visiting your place, and I'm gonna have to get down there this summer. So
Absolutely. I'm
Yeah,
gonna get a one free plug in there. So we're doing a release party
please.
on Friday over at the Oldbrook Beer Garden. So they are opening tomorrow. So the 21st is their first day. Um, it's a
Um,
little cold. Last year was nicer, but it is what
mhm.
it is. So Friday, we're doing a release party over there. I think some of the folks from Clean Lakes are going to be there. I think we've got a couple different beers of ours on as well. All the proceeds from that night's sale are going to the Clean Lakes Alliance. That's cool.
that's
And
awesome.
then if you can't make Friday, Saturday over at the Boneyard. So over on the east side, kind of by the
Oh
airport by
yeah,
K4. So they're
yeah.
doing like kind of a mini tap takeover. So we've got our honey blonde, and then I think our hazy IPA and a couple other beers on as well. So they're going to donate some of those proceeds also. So should be Saturday. Should be a good day. That weather looks nice.
Second last question. What were your top selling styles during the pandemic? Did,
Um,
did Black Panther sell good?
well, I guess it depends. So like early on, we were doing like one-offs that we were canning, and we were just selling strictly to go 6 packs or 4 packs, whatever. And I had fun doing just different IPAs. But right now, I mean, right now, it's our hashtag hazy is our number one seller for sure. Both in both of the facilities, both of our tap rooms, but also as far as distribution. So we've got a ton of hashtag going out the door.
Wow.
And then it is different. So our second best seller in our tap room is our blonde ale, but in distribution, it's the Scotch ale.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, we're getting many reports on what people are drinking, and a lot of reports say that people went back to what they were familiar with, or you know what I mean, what they found that they loved before the pandemic. They weren't really going out on limbs in the pandemic. So for you to
Sure.
say hazy and Black Panther, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. And last question, Landon says he's done. Um, is there anything that we missed? Anything you want to get out there? Landon and I aren't usually the interviewers, so we're sorry if we didn't grab what Chris Drosner usually grabs out of everybody. Um, so if there's anything that you wanted to say in closing, please do.
No, I mean, it's been a kind of a crazy 2 years, right? So, like I said, it was obviously good timing in that we had, started building before everybody got shut down, right? But yeah, I think, and hopefully people obviously they know that, kind of maybe give us some breathing room, give us a little bit of time. Everybody's kind of fighting the same thing, whether it's, shipping delays. Like my glassware is supposed to be here for 2 months, hasn't been here. It's like prices of grain keep going up. My delivery fees from my grain went from $40 2 years ago to 180.
Yeah.
So I think if everybody's understanding of the fact that, despite what Deb Carey, don't tell her this, does in New Glarus, that she keeps her prices low. At some point, something's gonna have to give. But hopefully, I think everybody understands that.
Yeah. I said last question, I lied. I love talking to brewers about this shit, man. I just do. Have you seen, really quick, a difference in how are people coming up to Hop House now? Like, we talked to the Three Sheep's owner last month, right, Landon? And he was telling us about how he's seen a shift in the way people come to the tap room. Have you seen anything different? Meaning, he basically say, Landon, that like, people used to stay longer more. Now they stay a little bit, have some, and then take a bunch home. So then they're almost like, there's almost like this morphine going on. Have you seen this, Phil? Can you speak to any of that?
I mean, I think for us, and maybe it's unique to Dane County, had lots of issues that are unique to Dane County. We'll leave it at that.
Yep.
That I think that now that people can come out and they feel safe about coming out, I think they're itching to go. So I mean, we knew it was going to be kind of crazy last spring because it was our first spring. But I think this year, once this weather changes finally, I think they're finally it's been like 2.5 years and they're just ready to rock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you good luck going forward, and we thank you for your time, and we also thank you for, making that trudge through. And I mean, obviously, as a business, that's what you want to do. You employ a whole bunch of people, so that's important for our community, and that's important for those families that, that get the money that they need to run their family. So, I don't know, Phil. We just want to thank you, and we wish you the best of luck, and hopefully, we will have you back on soonish, and you can tell us what's going on post pandemic.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, I think everybody has those tough days, and sometimes you're like, well, I'm going to keep going or I could quit, and I don't think that quitting is really an option. So then, yeah, you just got to get up and keep going the next day, right?
That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
But no, I appreciate the time. If you guys are back down in Madison sometime, let me know. We'll get a special 2-person tour going.
Sounds good.
Andy and I are going to hit you up because we are in Madison.
I'll come down there. You let me know. Yeah.
All right. Phil, you're welcome to stick around until we end and have a beer with us. But if you don't, because we understand you're a busy guy, we just wanted to thank you anyway. So
yeah, absolutely.
Cheers. Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
Landon, you have the beer spotlight, but I'm staying on because I want to know about this one.
Yeah. As most people probably know already, that I am not an IPA drinker. However, today is 420. So, and there was one beer that I really wanted to find, and Pearl Street Brewing does a hemp porter. Could not find it.
420.
Anywhere in Eau Claire. Could not find the damn thing.
You should have went to someplace before 420.
Should have. But you would have thought 420, right? Somebody would have it, right? No. However, Hinterland did come through for me. I did find one place. Hinterland has a Jamaican hazy IPA. They used pine trees in there, but actually, if you look at it, it's sort of, it kind of looks like weed. But Anyway, this is brewed with Sabro hops. Yeah, it's their 25th anniversary limited release, and we've done some stuff with Hinterland on this show before. We've talked about them, and so I'm gonna pour that guy and hope that this glass is actually clean.
Oh, sexy glass! I love that shit.
Yeah. So it's got a well, it is somewhat hazy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not it's not terribly strong on the nose, which a lot of hazies aren't, but IPAs in general are you can really get a lot. You can pick up a lot of the hops.
Yeah.
And it's not crazy hoppy on the nose. It's actually right away when you take that first sip, and especially if you've got a nice head on it, it's very mild. And then about the middle of that first sip is when the hops start, and then you get a lot of back end. So very well done. Hinterland, and I don't know about you, Greg, but Hinterland for me is kind of hit or miss as far as the packaged product that they have that you can find in the store. I know when you actually go to Hinterland in the brewery, it's amazing. It's fantastic. Everything that they have there is fantastic.
Right.
But yeah, Andy, I struggled through an IPA sip, but it really isn't overpowering for an IPA. I think we've kind of gone through this evolution as far as IPAs go in America. We really, when the IPA advent, if you want to call it that, was at its peak, it was the dankest, the harshest IPA that you could get. That's what everybody was really, really pining for. Pardon the pun. Now you're starting to see this rounding off, if you will, of they're a little more drinkable. They're not as harsh. They don't punch you in the mouth as much as they used to. I've even started to when I go out, I'll try one or two. I'll find something that I haven't had that maybe looks interesting. I'll try it. And I've noticed, unless my taste buds are really changing, but I don't think they're not changing that much. That you're really starting to notice they're a little more sessionable than it used to be. And this one really is, especially for something that, says it's Jamaican haze.
Yeah. I'm going to attribute some of that to Sabro hops. They're inoffensive hops, and when used right, they add a really nice hoppy flavor, but not overwhelming. And that's what I like about Sabro hops is that they're inoffensive generally, unless it's like an aggressively hopped. And even then, it's just not like, you know what I mean?
You're only going to get so much out of it. It's not going to be so crazy. Yeah.
And these approachable, I think, Landon, that craft beer, and we should do an editorial on this. Maybe you and I can do it. I think craft beer is just getting less offensive.
Yeah.
I think it's it's trying to be more mainstream instead of more like, you know what I mean? Like, let's make a statement with this beer. It's more like, let's make a statement with this beer, but let's make it completely like, not that it's not drinkable before, because again, some of us love it, those extremes, but some of us love, again, the beer that tastes like beer. And Landon's a big proponent of beer that tastes like beer.
Huge proponent.
But Landon's also a proponent of, big ass beers as far as flavor. So, if they go, but of course, if they go your way, if that makes any sense, or my way, or whoever's palate ways, if it goes your palate ways, how about that? Because sometimes, again, big beers are fantastic, and sometimes you're just not, it depends. Again, beer's a mood too. So what kind of mood are you in, Landon? Are you on that Friday? Man, it's been one of those hardcore weeks. It's a double IPA bourbon barrel night.
Yeah.
Or, you're just hanging out with your family on Sunday afternoon and some friends are over. And you just want to have, you want to sip 6 or 7 maybe. And we need some nice sessionable beers. So,
yeah. You need a Pilsner, or you need,
So this falls into the more sessionable, friendly Sunday afternoon.
Probably the friendliest IPA I've had in a long time. So,
all right.
I don't even know what the ABV on it is. Maybe you had it in the graphic that you had.
Good stuff.
Doesn't say it on there.
No.
6.8. So it's
6.8.
It's a little above what.
Wow. And you're telling me that it's drinking more like a 4.8. Sounds good. I like it.
You don't get a lot of alcohol on it at all.
And before we move on to events, I will say I echo everything you say about Hinterland. I was never, ever, ever respectfully overwhelmed by any of their distributing beers ever. And I don't even want to, I'm just calling it like it is. I'm not trying to slander you.
Right.
But when you go up to that Lambeau Field ambiance, you walk in there, you have the food, all that shit tastes good there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and you look at the beer menu and you go, wow. I didn't know you guys did some of this. This is great.
And then you start picking those off.
Yeah.
And you get a flight, then you're like, well, damn, these people can brew, they just don't distribute it.
Right.
Is how I read it, but I could be wrong.
That's exactly how I read it too.
All right. Speaking of reading, we're gonna have some events for y'all. Thanks, Landon. That was great.
You bet.
The hell does he mean? Speaking of reading,
you're gonna read the events, Andy.
That's
what you're gonna do. Yeah.
I mean, I'll read some of them, but I like to think that some of it's a little bit more back and forth, that sort of thing.
It's good to see you, by the way.
Yeah, good to be here. I'm in my new office. So, anyway,
where do we
Get
start?
into? Yeah, so we got a featured beer release, first of all, that's releasing this Saturday from Venture Brew Co. They're releasing their Donut Don, which is a pastry stout. Yeah. So pastry stout, and then they're going to have 6 different variants ranging from like barrel aged, or I think it was like tequila barrels, and like a couple other like cacao nibs, typical additives to that sort of thing. So that is Saturday at 11 a.m. and they will start selling cans at noon.
Be there, be square.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then up next, we have a few beer and cheese festivals, or just beer festivals. The first one is the Between the Bluffs Beer, Wine, and Cheese Festival in La Crosse. So that's also going to be this Saturday. You can either get VIP tickets or general admission tickets. VIP tickets let you in 2 hours earlier. The event's going to be held at the La Crosse Oktoberfest grounds. So if you've ever been there, nice, big, wide open area.
Big place, yeah.
Yep. So basically kicking off beer season so that they can end it later in outdoor beer season anyway. So that they can end it later with the Oktoberfest. So that should be fun. So like I said, VIP tickets get you in early. That's starting at noon until 2. And then general admission is 2 to 6. The VIP tickets are $95 and the general admission are $55. So
as we know from going to bigger beer fests like that, if you get the VIP, those 2 hours will pretty much knock you out.
Yep.
And so by the time the general admission people come in, all the VIPers will be pretty much gone.
Yeah. But at least you can have some assorted meats and cheeses to hopefully help you stay the course.
You're going to need it.
Yep.
Going to need it.
So, and it is a wine fest too. So I think they have a couple vineyards and probably some cideries as well. So
sure. Yeah.
Even more dangerous, but That's what happens at the La Crosse Oktoberfest grounds, no matter what festival is going on. And then the other beer fest we have coming up this weekend is Sunday, April 24th. We have the Brew for Ukraine Beer Festival here in Madison. That's getting put on by Wisconsin Brewing Company.
Yeah.
So it's going to be at Wisconsin Brewing Company, but it's going to be a bunch of different breweries from around Madison. I think they said it is 5 different breweries. Let me read. Now I'm reading, Greg. So there you go. Local breweries will make different beers in the series over the next month, and we'll release them this weekend on the festival on April 24th, with the proceeds going to the Ukraine relief efforts. So all the recipes that they're brewing or that they have brewed for this weekend are based off of recipes that a brewery in Ukraine released to like kind of spearhead this effort.
Yep.
The Brew for Ukraine effort that you've probably seen. I think Lakefront was part of it with their Fuck Putin beer and a bunch of other ones.
Yeah.
So these are actually recipes that brewery has like put out, and that's our local breweries, their take on it. So it's going to be, one is a dry hop strong ale. There's going to be a Belgian triple, an American red ale, a Belgian wit beer, and a Ukrainian imperial stout.
I'd be interested to have that one. No doubt. Yeah.
And then of course live music and food and all that other fun stuff. So
it's a great cause. If you can
great way to end the weekend as well.
Absolutely.
So and then moving forward in the calendar, we're getting into May a little bit now. On Wednesday, May 11th, the Leinenkugels are hosting a private beer dinner with the family.
Yeah, my neck of the woods.
Yep. So that's going to be at the Liney Lodge on May 11th, as I said, at 6 p.m. Tickets are $65. So, and I
believe John and Katie and sometimes Dick is there.
Yep. Well, he's retired now, so he's got no excuse to be there.
Well, he's not. He's
no
not
excuse
quite
not to
retired
be
yet. At the end of the year, he's retired. But
is that what it is? Okay, I wasn't sure.
But it's a good opportunity to go and see the new brewery in the lodge.
Right.
So they've got all. I went there. It's very nice. And they have some. They're starting to ramp up a little bit with that new brewery. So they got some newer things on tap and whatnot. And then of course, I haven't heard a bad thing yet about the beer dinners there. So
nice.
So it's always a good event.
Yeah, it's a 5-course meal as well. I didn't say that earlier. So
should
be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
And then another big event coming up next month. Three Sheeps is turning 10.
Oh, hey.
They are hosting their 10th anniversary party Saturday, May 14th at the brewery, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. So that's going to be a pretty... That's an all-day party.
That is a day.
Yep. So they said it's a massive bash with live music, beer releases, anniversary beers, food trucks, and more. And then all that's said elsewhere on the page is more details to come. So follow their Facebook page for more information.
That's right.
Got a little bit of time between now and then to figure out what those details are.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's an anniversary party. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it'll be great.
So, and then last one we have today, obviously there are way more events going on this month, but just picked out a couple of the bigger ones. And then I tried to hit most of the key areas in the state. So we have Lakefront's My Fest coming up May 15th. It's the inaugural My Fest that they're doing. This one is a gluten-free friendly celebration. So not all the beers, but most of the beers are going to be gluten-free. They're going to have 4 other River West breweries. So Gathering Place, Black Husky, and a couple other ones are going to be there. The big highlight from that event is a gluten-free barrel-aged beer. It's a Imperial Goza aged in tequila barrels. According to Lakefront, it's the first of their kind.
I believe it.
Absolutely. First time I've ever heard of a barrel-aged gluten-free beer. So Should be very interesting. And tequila barrels are an interesting choice for that one as well. So
Right.
although I guess Goza, so maybe they're going for more of like a margarita type thing, but
Sure.
makes sense.
But lakefront, I've never had anything bad there. So
Right.
you can't
They're
go
also
wrong.
they're dedicating the entire east side of the outside of their building to Maker's Market, where they're going to have a bunch of local artisans and everything else under
Very
the sun.
nice.
So
Love
shop
that
there.
place.
Yeah, obviously
Yeah.
family friendly. They're going to have food trucks as well as their normal kitchen's probably going to be open, I would assume, as well. So should be a fun day.
Cheese curds.
Yep.
Maybe they'll have gluten-free cheese curds.
I think unbreaded cheese curds probably are gluten free, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So should be a fun day.
Yeah.
And obviously non-beer beverages and live music as well will be there as well. I think they said something about Bloody Mary bar. So
Ooh.
that should be fun.
Yeah. If it wasn't a Sunday, I'd go.
Right. Yeah, a bit of a trek for you. Just
it's a bit of a trek for me. Yeah.
Anyway, so
and that's it, right?
That's it for events today. Like I said,
right.
way more obviously going on, but those are the highlights.
Awesome.
You're calling that. It's last call. Do y'all have any final thoughts or things you want to talk about, Lyndon?
Yeah, actually, coming up tomorrow, right here in Eau Claire, I've talked about Third and Vine in previous episodes. It's a neat little beer and cheese place, not too far away, actually, from where I live. I'm hoping to go down there tomorrow night, so if you want to join me, the ladies from Giant Jones are going to be there for a tap takeover. They're bringing their beers.
Oh.
Actually, Third and Vine has been able to get a few of their beers on a pretty regular basis in the last couple months. So it's been a nice, you can go down there and get a $10 bottle of beer and share it with your friends and have some cheese and meat and whatnot. But actually, Jessica and Erica are going to be there tomorrow night. So they're going to do a meet and greet. Tomorrow night, I'm not sure of the hours offhand, but if you go to Third and Vine's Facebook page, they have all of the details on that. And then I imagine me and about the whole Eau Claire Beer Collective will be down there tomorrow night. So should be a fun time.
Excellent. Andy, what's going on with you? Anything?
Not a whole lot. I'm gearing up for Baby Watch coming up in a couple months here. So
yeah.
Okay.
June 2nd. So
yeah, we're gathering beers.
I've actually been cutting back on my alcohol recently, so I've been drinking a lot of this guy.
Lame.
Oh. Is that a good one though, as far as NA goes?
Yeah, honestly, it still tastes like beer to me. So obviously, if you have it side by side, it doesn't compare to the real thing, but it still tastes better than like St. Pauli Girl or like O'Doul's, I would say. So
sure.
Excellent. I just question when non-alcoholic beers come out of a place that does alcoholic beers, kind of the same question I give for organic beers. But Lakefront
this one's actually
Lakefront does them both well.
This one's actually labeled as being brewed in Wanakee. So this is coming out of Octopi, if I had to wager, I guess.
Sure.
Okay.
So that's the only Wanakee Brewing doing contract, so you're right on there. But I just I was questioning that, but Lakefront does both of them well. They have an organic beer that's great, and they also have a non-alcoholic beer that I hear nothing but good things about.
And obviously the gluten-free stuff as well. So
they have gluten-free stuff too, right?
Yep.
So they're one of the few ones that really nails those styles outside of those styles.
If you can find Athletic Brewing,
yes,
I've had some of their stuff.
Yes,
pretty on point.
Yeah, I would actually say that this is better than Athletic. At least the Athletics that I've had.
Yeah.
The Athletic I had still kind of tasted a little watery, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm happy to announce, y'all, that we have an extension of Badger Beer Hour. It's called Badger Beer Happy Hour.
Hey.
It is a Twitter space that Chris Drosner and Simon from Venture Brewing will be doing. It's the 4th Wednesday of every month. So it's the same time frame as this, but it's the week after. And we will be talking about things basically that we talked about here, a little bit more in depth. You can heckle or come and speak to any of us, but if you really want access to the Beer Baron, that's a great place. And Landon and Andy have been asked, and I hope that they jump in sometimes under the Taproom Travelers. Y'all more than welcome, of course. But obviously we all have our time constraints. But we'll be there every Wednesday, every 4th Wednesday, the week after this stream, and we'll be talking about basically what we talked about here. I'm going to try to get Phil on too to see if he wants to come and talk a little bit about Hop House. But the format with Twitter Spaces is that it's audio only, so you don't have to see our faces, which is a good thing. And but it's also good because it's engaging, and anybody can speak and talk on it, and we can go back and forth about any kind of Wisconsin beer issues. So this is the only Twitter space of its kind, focusing on Wisconsin beer. So next week is the first one. We hope to see y'all there. And in closing, do we have anything else, fellas?
I think that's great, man.
Chris is still go to Chris. Go to Chris's Twitter. He's still tweeting about.
Go give him hell. Give him a lot of hell.
Right. And we held it down pretty well without him. But
I think
next month is our 2nd anniversary. So
hey,
who knows what the hell's going to happen then? But we'll see y'all next month. The next Badger Beer Hour is May 18th at 18. It might be May 18th. It's our anniversary show, so we may go live. We may do something crazy. We may not. We don't know what the hell we're doing here. Why don't we just be upfront about it, right, guys?
That's right. Let's do it.
Let's just keep it an open book. So thank y'all, fellas. It was fun again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cheers.
Cheers.